China's capital resides in Beijing. The root of this city of 24 million comes from as early as 700,000 years ago, as prehistoric people were confirmed to exist with the discovery of Peking Man. Yet there lies another city with a glorious history that has been forgotten in the annals of history books. Chang'an, or Qian, was the center of the world for a 200-year period under the Tang Dynasty, a golden age of the Chinese people. China during this time was a cultural mixing pot of the world, and I argue that without the An Lushan Rebellion, the capital of China would have been Chang'an. To provide some historical context, the Sui dynasty, a short-lived dynasty, united China after a period of the Three Kingdoms in 589 AD. Then, after only 30-odd years, a general named Li Yuan overthrew the Sui dynasty to establish his own Tang dynasty. During the Tang, Chang'an became the glorified city that was the center of the world during the 7th to 8th century AD. The Tang featured a variety of unique attributes that added to its cultural flair. Primarily, Li Yuan, the founder of the Tang, was half Turkish. Due to his cultural heritage, he embraced Turkish characteristics and brought these traits into the Han Chinese culture. Camels became a symbol of the Chinese people. This symbol not only reflected the Turkish king's love for the creatures, but also the large vein of culture and wealth that was the Silk Road, as caravan after caravan poured into the country, bringing them new ideas and tastes from the West. Buildings represented the Western influence of the Turkish people as well. On top of the foreign influences, a variety of domestic ideas illustrate the glory of the Tang. The examination system, which helped determine the government officials of the country, was a powerful influence. New strains of rice were brought to the country, allowing for larger yields, and thus the population expanded rapidly. Land reforms were instituted, providing more power to the people. A new legal system was created that became the blueprint for Korean, Japanese, and Vietnamese legal systems. Canals were created, which immensely boosted seafaring trade, allowing items to be moved across long distances with ease. The list goes on and on. The glory of the Tang was real and was centered in Chang'an. The question then comes, why would Beijing be the current capital if Beijing, which is closer to the northern territories of the, quote, Mongol Terror, located hundreds, sometimes thousands of miles away from other areas of China, it wasn't the capital during the glorious period of economic, social, and political blossoming compared to Chang'an? The answer lies within the ethnic and religious tensions culminating in the An Lushan Rebellion. For years, there was tensions between the people of the Tang Empire and the government. Despite all that was done to assist the people in the cultural expansion that occurred during the time, there was a sense that the Han Chinese people were uncomfortable with the openness of the empire, allowing people from anywhere to trade freely within the country. On top of that, the emperor of the dynasty wasn't the same race as the majority, which the people felt caused conflict of interest within the ruling power. There were also tensions that arose between Confucian and Buddhist religious followers that the Tang were forced to deal with. These 2 points of conflict, plus the minor detail that the people felt the Tang elite were living too lavishly, sparked the conflict and uprising in the mid-8th century. General An Lushan, a man who was appointed to control 3 northern garrisons of the Tang Empire army, giving him 165,000 units at his disposal, used his power against the dynasty. After 8 years of heavy conflict, in which both the Tang Empire and the newly formed Yan dynasty suffered, the rebellion was squashed, but not before the Yan dynasty captured Chang'an in 1758. However, this rebellion did not leave the hearts and minds of the people of the Tang dynasty. After the rebellion, the Tang entered a pseudo-second dynasty defined by more xenophobic beliefs, leading to a more closed approach to foreign interest, increased military presence, and a period of social unrest. This led to the collapse of the Tang dynasty as the empire broke into 5 distinct dynastic regions. Chang'an was associated with the corrupt power found in the late Tang, and the city lost its once glorified status. It may appear as if the city and the presence of the capital in Chang'an reflects the current dynasty in power, and that is completely true. Chang'an was a product of the cultural and political success in the early Tang era, and the fall of the Tang led to the fall of Chang'an as the empire collapsed. The ambitious goal of trying to unite a people under one title, despite containing more titles than ever in Chinese history, in a territory rivaled in size by the powerful ancient empires of the pre-modern era world, was a challenge that was indeed impossible to achieve. Imagining the possibilities, however, of a world without the An Lushan Rebellion, the violent end to the golden age of Chinese history, is an interesting thought experiment that raises questions about ethnicity and the role of government in a society. What I truly do believe, however, is that without the rebellion, the capital would still remain in Chang'an, and Beijing would only be a major city in China and nothing more.